Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ask HR. I am your host, Chris Timmel. I know nothing about HR, so I bring with me the one of the greatest HR minds in puzzle, if not the entire world, Brianna Grimes. Brianna, how are you?
I am great. Thank you, Timmel. I'm sure you know something about HR. You've listened to me talk for long enough.
Yeah, I don't pay attention because I have you. I don't need to know this. I know you.
All right, my brain is on loan.
Let's go. Okay, so this is a fun one. This is from Chloe in Cleveland. Chloe asks, "We have a high drama, toxic employee. It's performance, it's personality, it's something else too. What do we do?"
That's a great question. This is something that a lot of managers, especially first-time managers, really struggle with is how do you coach, how do you document, or how do you performance out an employee who has high tendencies for drama, can create a toxic work environment, and also a lot of times have performance issues. Um, the main thing to remember with these types of situations is from a work perspective and from an HR perspective, for lack of better terms, we don't really care about personality, right? Like as far as coaching goes, as far as performance goes, we want to look at behaviors and the impact of those behaviors. So a lot of the times when you have an employee that fits this criteria of high drama, toxic, those typical descriptor words, a lot of the times they are not high performing individuals. They have performance issues, and that's really what I always encourage managers to focus on. Is let's look at the behaviors. What type of job related issues are they having? Are they missing deadlines? Are they not showing up for meetings? Are they consistently late to work? Are they not following policy? Maybe their tendency for drama might cause them to gossip. And maybe when they gossip, they're sharing information from a confidential meeting that they were in that they shouldn't have. That's a policy breach. If they have disruptive conduct, or if they're making other employees feel harassed or feel isolated or bullied, those are all things that we as HR professionals and as managers can coach on and document appropriately. As far as the documentation and the actual conversations with these employees, we want to avoid the kind of trigger words of high drama or toxic. And we're not focused on describing their personality. We want to focus solely on objective behaviors that we can document. This is the behavior. This was the impact. This was the policy that it breached. This was the behavior. This was the impact. This is, the consequence of that impact. Whether it costs the company money, whether it violates, an EEOC policy because they bullied somebody or made someone feel harassed, anything like that. We want to focus on objective things that cannot be argued versus something very subjective like, oh, you're toxic, or oh, you have a lot of drama in your life or in your work environment. So really focusing on that is going to be important. The other piece to this that I always tell managers to look at the situation is making sure that you are checking, I would say checking the employee, but you're making sure that that employee has not recently participated in a protective activity. So if they filed a harassment complaint, they have recently submitted an EEOC complaint or an EEOC charge, or even if they put in a request for a leave of absence, those are all protected activities. So we want to make sure that when the manager is attempting to coach or document this type of performance issue, we want to make sure that if it's happened prior to these activities, that we have that documentation already in place. So consistent documentation is important, but also going forward, we want to make sure that we are not increasing or changing the way we're documenting simply because of these protected activities. So it's very important to look at the situation holistically and just making sure that you're documenting it, you're having timely coaching conversations with the employee, bringing these behaviors to their attention, making sure they understand expectations going forward. What does success look like? What does it look like to not be on this coaching, conversation or a written warning or a PIP, whatever your company does, and then holding them accountable. You can't just have the conversation and then wait 6 months, it gets worse, and say, I want to fire this person. You need to make sure you're doing the consistent documentation, having regular check ins, and that manager really needs to hold that person accountable. That is going to be the best way to handle that type of situation and making sure that you handle it in a low risk manner.
Really insightful. Great advice. Thank you very much once again, Brianna, for your time today and for that insightful answer.
Absolutely. Thank you for the great question.
We'll see you next time.